City of Angels is a movie that was released in 1998 and stars Nicolas Cage as Seth, an angel who walks invisible amongst humanity and falls in love with a heart surgeon named Maggie, played by Meg Ryan. And Seth meets another former angel who fell from grace because he fell in love. And because Seth loves Maggie so much in the very brief amount of time that he's known her, he decides to do the same thing. He gives up forever just to touch her. And they spend one very PG-13 night together before Maggie is hit by a truck and dies. Before we really get started, to set the tone, I would like for you to watch the last shot of the movie without sound. Let us begin. This movie starts with a child dying. You know, just in case you thought this was gonna be a happy story about angels and the city of Los Angeles. Nope. And then shortly thereafter, there's a very graphic, although I mean of course fake, scene of a heart surgery where Maggie is literally trying to restart her patient's heart in her hand. Like, she is squeezing it like a stress ball, and it is very uncomfortable. I am not going to show you the clip. You're welcome. The biggest issue for me in this movie is the performances. Nicolas Cage is just so weird. Sometimes he comes across as really like sweet and naive and charming.
Who are you visiting, Mr. Messenger?
Right now? Yeah.
And then other times, he's just Nicolas Cage.
Is this blood? This is blood!
Is it red?
Red. Is it red? Color.
Even Meg Ryan is so strange in this movie. For the most part, her performance is just very flat, with the occasional spike of emotion. And I'm not a heart surgeon or an actor, but I don't think that a flat line with the occasional dramatic bump is what you want from either an EKG or someone's performance in a movie. And since she is fairly robotic a lot of the time, when she does have these outbursts, they come across as very bizarre.
I cannot conceive of it!
Seth is also set up as such a voyeur. Like, the bathtub scene?
Seth. That name is Seth.
And also, by the way, Maggie doesn't know there is like a horny angel watching her, and yet she spends a strange amount of time staring at herself in the mirror and like gently caressing her own skin and hair. It's very weird. Maggie adjusts to this whole angel thing very, very quickly. It seems like pretty early on she's starting to get suspicious that there's something off about Seth, and she seems to come to the conclusion that he is a supernatural creature much faster than anybody else I know. I have had some men come up to me and say some very strange and unsettling things, and I have never walked away from those encounters being like, wow, what kind of celestial being did I just meet? Really, I can only think that she just finds him very, very hot, and that is the primary reason that she just completely accepts all of his strange behavior.
I'm a messenger.
Oh. Well, what kind of messenger? Like a bike messenger?
No, I'm a messenger of God.
Got a message for me?
I already gave it to you.
Well, did you use my pager? Because I usually don't get my messages unless you beep me.
You've definitely been beeped.
There is a lot going on in this movie. And I don't just mean in terms of the plot, but conceptually and in the big ideas that they're trying to introduce and discuss just in the movie's runtime. Like, they address atheism and science versus religion and a belief in God.
If this is all you are, these cells, then when they die, that's the end.
I don't know, I think so.
They introduce some angel lore that they kind of touch on but don't really explain, like the fact that angels can't really taste anything and they can't see color.
Color.
They try to address what it means to be human.
Am I being punished?
You know better than that. That's life. You're living now. And one day, you'll be dying.
Those are really big concepts to be placing next to all of these plot points, not just of Seth and Maggie's growing relationship. They have Maggie as a doctor having to deal with losing a patient and overcome those feelings.
On the table, on my table, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
There's a subplot about a guy getting heart surgery who used to be an angel who fell to earth because he fell in love, and he's the one who explains to Seth how it all works.
Nathaniel Messenger, glutton, hedonist, former celestial body, recent addition to the human race.
There's a subplot about a baby that they found in a dumpster behind the House of Pies that just never stops crying, and somehow all of these doctors just were never able to figure out that this crying baby can't breathe through its nose.
Has anyone ever seen the baby sleep?
I don't know. Let's check him out. Anal atresia. There's hardly any air getting through.
And Maggie has a boyfriend for most of this movie, or a sort of boyfriend. Like, it's never particularly clear. He's just very weird. Their relationship is very weird. He comes across like a serial killer, and he wants to marry her.
You know I'm not very good at matters of the heart. I mean, the proverbial heart. Please be my wife.
She has a type. There is a lot happening here. It is very ambitious. My favorite scene in this movie is the one where Maggie intentionally cuts Seth. It's very aggressive. At this point, she feels that she has gathered enough evidence that he is probably a supernatural being, and she is like, yes, I can stab this guy without consequences. And the proof that she's accumulated so far is pretty much just the fact that he's really weird and a Polaroid picture of him turned out messed up. That is all she needs to just knife this guy.
You have very delicate hands for a construction worker.
I'm not a construction worker.
Very, very pale hands.
And Seth is just like, ouch. And I do not know what it says about me that I just like this scene so much. And this scene leads into my second favorite scene, where Seth needs to come up with a last name on the spot.
What's your last name?
You know my last name.
No, I don't.
Plate.
And then later, when Seth falls, he is physically falling, and they have this weird black and white montage of shots of Maggie interspersed with these random clips that I guess are supposed to represent humanity. Like, there's a bunch of children on a playground, there's like a pregnant woman's belly, there's a train station. Let's talk about the music. Sarah McLachlan's Arms of the Angel song starts on a shot of a scalpel slicing open a man.
Spend all your time waiting.
Interesting choice. And in case you're wondering, I checked, and the ASPCA did not use this song in one of their commercials until 9 years later. So people had plenty of time to watch this movie and enjoy the song for what it was before associating it with sad animals. And Sarah McLachlan's Angel has very literal lyrics for the scene in the movie where it's used, where Maggie is kind of in the arms of an angel. I checked this too to see if the song was maybe written for the movie, and it was not. But the song Iris by the Goo Goo Dolls was written for this movie. Yes, the Goo Goo Dolls specifically wrote Iris for this movie. The lead songwriter, whose name I cannot pronounce, was invited to an advanced screening. And so he kind of paid attention to some of the lines used in the movie and adapted those into a song. He actually didn't like the movie very much, but he was at sort of a low point in his career, and he knew there were going to be some other big names on the soundtrack, like U2, and he just really liked the idea of being on the same soundtrack as U2. So the Goo Goo Dolls song Iris was born. And now let's talk about the ending. Maggie's death was very odd. First of all, she's riding around these windy back roads with her eyes closed for an inappropriate amount of time. And then when she finally opens them, she sees that there's a logging truck pulling out in front of her, and I guess she doesn't have any instincts to try to like brake or swerve. And I guess she didn't hear the truck either. Like, I imagine a truck of that size would make quite a bit of noise, but nope, snuck up on her. And in the scene, just before Maggie hits the truck, you see that it's pulling out onto the road. But then later, when Seth comes running down to help her, the truck is turned and facing the other way. It's facing like the front of the truck is back down in the direction that we saw the truck pulling out from. And Maggie's bike is crushed under the back wheel of the truck. So it seems like maybe the truck backed over her, but that doesn't make sense with what we saw before the accident. Like, I'd assumed that she hit the middle of the truck and was pulled under and the truck ran over her and then she died. Although, if any part of that truck ran over her, she would have died immediately. She wouldn't have lingered long enough for Seth to come and say a tearful goodbye. She would have been dead right on the spot. Just so we're clear. But it's very weird. It's a combination of the scenes not lining up properly and also the incredibly stupid choice to ride a bicycle with your eyes closed. Also, this movie is loosely based on the German film Wings of Desire. And in that movie, there is a happy ending. The angel falls, he becomes human, he meets the trapeze artist at a bar. They're like, yes, we are in love now. He reflects on his new experiences with humanity. The end. No logging truck accident. This movie's so weird. Somehow, none of it works, and somehow, all of it works. But the I'm glad I have a take where I say goo goo. Damn it. How did I ever succeed as a baby if I can't say goo goo?
It's red. Color.